Hi guys, and welcome back to the Tara Rose podcast. Today I'm very excited to welcome my new guest. He has come all the way from South Africa. He is in the salon industry, and in my eyes he's done it all. He has 29 salons, his own product range, and everything that he does within his business is surrounded by guest experience and team training and education. So today I would love to introduce Gary Rom onto the Tara Rose podcast. So, Gary, I'm so excited for our chat today, but I want to start with, where did you grow up? Tell us a bit about your background before, obviously, the massive empire that you have now. You know, what are your beginnings and sort of where do you come from?
Well, firstly, Tara, let me say, flew in from Johannesburg this morning.
Amazing.
And really thankful to be here, humbled. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. Grew up in South Africa, went to boarding school.
Okay.
Came out, did my national service for 2 years, which was the thing we did back in the day.
Okay.
And then didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So my stepfather at the time had a salon called Hair by Kelly.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's always been in the business.
Well, he was my stepdad. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
I'd known him pretty much my whole life. And he recommended that I go to both Schwarzkopf and L'Oreal for an interview to become a sales consultant.
Okay, wow.
So off I went, and I was
So you sort of fell into it, really?
Fell into it.
Yeah.
Worked for L'Oreal for 2 full years. Won Salesman of the Year in my first year, not because I could sell well, but I started earlier than the others, and I finished later.
Right.
So I worked hard.
So you've always had that work ethic, or was it something, because again, this is probably one of the biggest things in business, isn't it? Like, how did that happen? Like, was it because you enjoyed what you were doing?
Yeah, look, firstly, I was very, very small when I matriculated. I was tiny. Okay. I weighed 50 kgs when I matriculated. Yeah. So there was always that little bit of a fear of failure, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then lots of drive, lots of determination.
Amazing. Yeah. And do you come from a family with drive anyway? Was that something, or was that because my sort of growing up, you know, my dad was always a very, very hard worker, but it was, if you weren't sort of school education, then you were pretty much written off, you know. So for me, drive came a hell of a lot later. It wasn't something that I automatically had.
Yeah,
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I was never going to become something from learning at school, to be honest.
Oh, and I think that in a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, entrepreneur. So lots of the guys that were in my class that matriculated and got degrees and went to university and chose a different path, that was never going to be me. I was always the risk taker.
Yeah, amazing.
So I think, and I'm assuming yourself as well, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm thankful.
Absolutely.
Because if I didn't make them, I wouldn't have been able to move forward. You know?
Yeah. So, and I think that there is one of the key moments of growth, isn't it, is truly understanding that about mistakes, that they aren't them. You know, so many people get caught up in mistakes and they don't understand that that's a lesson. Yeah. So did you learn that very early on?
Pretty early on.
That's good, because for me, it took me years to understand
really?
that. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember that far back because I'm getting on in years now, you know. So, but I've always wanted to provide an experience in my business that others do not. So, and I think there's a simple key there is to study the industry, have a look what everyone's doing, and then try and do it differently. Which doesn't make you better.
No.
But it makes you different. And I think that's a talking point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is why I was so excited to, and I think it's very much aligned with where I'm at the moment in terms of business and stuff. Like, I believe in the things that you're doing. And I think, and we'll go into this a little bit later, like after opening this salon, my last one, I was like, I started to doubt myself because I was like, is that a real thing anymore, you know? So, but we'll go into that anyway.
But what a beautiful space.
Oh, thank
you.
mean,
I've been around the world.
Yeah.
This is magnificent.
Oh,
congratulations.
So
it's really cool.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell me, the first business, how did you get into it? Was it your own? Has it always been Gary Rom? Have you had any partners, investors? How did you get to opening that first shop?
Opened my first salon called Inter Hair Design.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
No, 1999. My son was maybe 7 or 8 months old.
Okay.
I was working with my stepdad Kelly, and I didn't embrace his work ethic.
Okay.
Anyway, long story short, I wanted to go on my own. I'd never had the funds, but I had a great friend who was Lebanese at the time.
Right.
And Peter had just got married, and I know, and you know, that when Lebanese people get married, they get cash.
Yeah.
So I said to Peter, listen, pal.
What are you going to do with that money?
I said, I need 15,000 Rand.
Yeah.
So the salon at the time was it was selling for 90,000 Rand,
Okay.
which is, what is that in dollars? $5,000
Okay.
US?
Yeah.
And I needed 15,000 Rand to put down. So I needed just over just about $1,000 to put down, and I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I promise I'll pay you back in 2 years. And I remember in month 2, Tara,
Yeah.
I sat on my bed with my new wife and my baby boy, and I counted out 15,000 Rand. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I paid him in 2 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I still didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let me categorically say that. That I did hair like everyone else did. I did
Yeah.
as many clients as possible. I never knew what a client record card was.
Yeah.
I never knew what structure was, but I worked hard.
You worked hard.
Yeah, and it worked. Thankfully, the first business worked.
It worked. And this is one of my, when I opened the first salon, I knew how to cut hair. I wasn't, the best.
Yeah.
I could cut hair, but I had no idea about business
No.
or leadership or any of the other things. I just thought, it must be easy,
Yeah.
And then I went on to open my second one, and I was like with the same mindset. And then that was when things started to really there's a problem here.
Yeah,
I
there's
need
two
to,
now.
It's two. It's
Two
not-
children and not one.
yeah, no, that's it. I need to really start looking at this. So when did you start to sort of understand that cutting hair and colouring hair isn't enough for owning a business? Because there's so many businesses and salon owners out there that, are on the creative side and, not so much about the business. And I think that is that key moment and that's one of the hardest things as well, is going from a hairdresser to a business owner. Like, when did you decide or realise, because now you have 30?
29.
29?
Yeah.
29 salons. So
Well, mostly franchises.
amazing. We can talk about
We'll
that.
talk
as well.
about that later. Yeah.
Very exciting. But what was that? When did you really start to think, right, I need to get my head into understanding how business operates? Because to go from that to where you are now, you've got a massive business head, obviously.
Yeah, so back in the day when I was still working hard and doing clients, I had a client by the name of Tanya Jolly.
Yeah.
Never forget her. She was instrumental in changing my life. And she walked into my salon one day with a red Decra cap on. And I said to her, Decra, I know what Decra is. I've seen it on Michael Schumacher. He's branded Decra back in the day. I said, what is it? She said, it's a part of what they do is they acknowledge businesses that have an ISO listing, International Standards Organization.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what is International Standards Organization? She said, well, big businesses aspire to have it because it helps them trade internationally.
Amazing.
It's a moneymaker.
Yeah.
So then I said to her, Tanya, is there a salon in the world that has an ISO listing? Now, bear in mind, we're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
She said, I'll have to check.
Yeah.
And she said, I'll come back to you when I come back from my next appointment. 6 weeks later, she came in and she said, there is no salon in the world with an ISO listing. So I said, well, what's it going to cost? And back in the day,
And
you
this
work
is
it
still
out-
with salon number one.
This is salon number one.
Yeah.
This is salon number one, Inter Hair Design. It cost back in the day about $10,000.
Okay.
But I'm talking 25 years ago.
Yes,
that was
it's
a
a
lot.
lot of money, yeah.
And it took us 2 years. I paid it off over the 2 years. And what it gave us, Tara, is it gave us a beginning, a middle, and an end to
amazing.
everything that we did in the salon.
Yeah.
Which inadvertently, with me not knowing, it forged my business world because all of a sudden I understood process.
Yeah.
And so, we can be as skillfully we can be artists, skilled to the nth degree.
Yeah, but without that process.
Without process, we're dead. And I think that's a major downfall in a lot of entrepreneurs' lives, salon owners' lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that was it for me. Like, it was just, we do somebody's hair, the client comes in, there was no understanding from the process from client journey to when the client comes in, how they book, in terms of your SOPs that you have in the salon. I was very much, when I opened the first salon, it was because I was like, I can do this better, and I want to be able to give everybody freedom to do what they want to do.
Okay.
And, and I think that I can pay this amount. So I had no idea. So
same as me.
It was. I was like, wow, second salon down. Everybody's absolutely miserable. The team are falling apart. Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
What's everybody's problem? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then I went to a motivational event, and I was like, wow. The problem is me. The problem is me. I don't, I never understood these things, about that I'm the person in control of, my destiny and my business and everything. But I need to learn these things, It's not as, I've very much had a, life owes me something sort of. Okay. It just falls into place.
Okay.
But I remember that moment, like the lady in the red hat. It was a life-changing moment for me from a business perspective. But also personally, that we have the power to create anything we want to do, but equally we need to learn.
It's strange that you say that, because when I used to do a lot of training in South Africa in the beginning, in the infancy, I used to teach process.
Okay.
So back in the day, we had a 5-step consultation, and I said 4 minutes into your consultation, you will be here.
Amazing.
It was all process, which was so wrong.
Yeah.
Because now that we have 250 staff members, I understand the importance of life skills. We've got to teach them life skills.
Amazing.
We've got to teach them skill.
Yeah.
And we've got to teach them process. So in my brand, weighted evenly at 33.3% are life skills, skill, and process.
And that's amazing that you say that. Absolutely. So I say it a little bit like and the process is a huge part of that. But for us as well, with the academy and everything now, is that we teach the other stuff. We don't just teach how to cut and colour hair. We teach communication, public speaking, mindset courses, all of the other stuff. Because again, that is, like you say, 50, the skill is actually, only half of it. If you haven't got the other stuff, the process and, the life skills and the communication skills, the clients aren't going to keep coming back.
Well, I'm prepared to bet a lot of money that in your career, clients didn't only come to you because of what you do.
No.
They came to you because of who you are.
Yeah.
And I tell my teams that all the time. Cutting and foiling and balayage is something we do.
That's it.
But who are we?
Yeah.
And if we can take who we are, and as a brand, we can enrich the life of that person leaving, whether it's a barbershop or whether it's a salon.
Yeah.
They're not going to talk about the cut, to be honest.
So that is obviously why you're so big now, because again, there for me, what you've just said there is obviously you're giving more back to the client, but you're really teaching the people that come to work from you another skill on how to look at things differently, how to communicate, and people don't learn this in school.
No.
They don't understand about mindset and confidence and everything. So that alone there, those extra skills that you're bringing to the people that work for you, not only to your clients, them getting a better service, but you're giving them so much more as well, which then it's almost like on the tipping point, isn't it? Once they understand that, they can then fly in so many more things, not just work, but social skills outside of work and everything. So that's amazing that you do that.
So we're busy hiring a new social media girl now and a marketing person, because the girl that's working for me now is moving on.
Yeah.
And in my interviews with these girls, I say to them, you have a responsibility to 1,000 people. And they're saying, what are you talking about?
Absolutely.
Saying, well, we've got 250 staff members that have families.
Yeah.
Everything you do on social media, everything you do in a barbershop, everything you do in a salon affects the lives positively or negatively of 1,000 people. And I think if we understand that, it forces us to reset a little bit and go, hang on a minute.
Absolutely.
It's important.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And you... how have you gone from then 1 to now 30?
Slowly.
It's a big slowly.
So
had a few yourself, because obviously we've now, you've got your own brand, Gary Rom. How did you go from the first to then? Yeah.
So what happened was I had about 5 at the time that my daughter got married.
Yeah.
My daughter Melissa lives on the Gold Coast now in Australia, and she met a guy by the name of Lloyd Madsen.
Okay. Yeah.
And Lloyd Madsen worked in marketing in Johannesburg, and he lived in Pretoria with my daughter. And he was traveling up and down the highway and late nights and so on. And when I got to know him, if I could choose a man for my daughter on planet Earth, it would have been Lloyd.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
imagine if it's the other way around.
Just a general,
Yeah.
like a fantastic guy.
Yeah,
and,
amazing.
And I think there's a
Well
lesson.
done, Lloyd.
Yeah, well done, Lloyd. There's a lesson to be learned there that when we hire, we must hire for attitude and train for skill.
Absolutely.
So when I saw Lloyd and was associated with Lloyd and saw the way he raised his family and treated my daughter, I said to him 9 years ago, I said, Lloyd, you need to resign and come and work for me.
Amazing.
He said, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I said, I have no idea.
We're going to find something.
No idea.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on the 1st of January 9 years ago at the holiday home that we had at 6 in the morning. Everyone else was sleeping off the hangover. And I was thinking, he's employed now.
Yeah.
What is he going to do? And I remember writing down titles. And eventually I settled on one, which was Lloyd Madsen Business Development and Franchising. And
Amazing.
that is how we started
And that's
franchising.
how you started.
But I must say this, that you can only franchise if you have a proven formula.
Absolutely.
So once the formula is...
the process, the formula.
Then. And people try and change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is why it's so nice to talk to you today, because like I'm now on salon number 4. Well, this is my 5th salon I've opened. And it's been really hard work, along the way. I mean, we've only been open 8 years in total. Okay. So going from hairdresser to obviously 5 years, really, I've been sort of focusing on understanding the business properly and everything. So the processes, like you say, within that business, the formula is absolutely vital. And I think this is why I feel like it's meant to be today, because you come in and me reading all about you, I almost sort of started the last few months because it's been so busy financially. You've seen the fit out, it's a whole new concept. But it's been hard the last 6 months. And I think I started to think, am I going crazy? Is this, because I'm very much aligned with you, client experience, education, and giving that extra is really, we want to build people, whether it's our clients or whether it's our staff. But I started to doubt myself, the last few months, because it does get tiring, it does get exhausting. And I think, I was starting to think, is this a real thing? Am I, because it has been so busy. So then when you coming in today and with us having this chat and then reading everything about you, I was like, yes, I'm back. It does work.
Well, I think what's important for everyone out there that's going to be watching this, we need to understand that cash flow and profit are different families.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes in your life you've got more and other times you've got less.
Yeah.
But I think with the tools that we have today, software that we have, as salon owners and business people, the more in-depth that we study our business and the more we understand it, the easier it becomes, really.
Absolutely. And sometimes people want to bury their head in the sand.
I was going to say ostrich
problem.
mentality.
Yeah.
Bury your head in the sand.
Yeah, it's going away.
It's not going to go away.
No,
yeah,
regardless of, there's always a solution behind something, you know. And sometimes in your hardest moments, which I believe my last few months have been, I believe I was supposed to go through that because I needed to have a better understanding of things. To be able to push forward with the bigger vision anyway. So it's, in those hard times, you don't just give up. You don't stick your head in the sand. You're like, right, okay, there is something in here. What, and now I believe I have an even better understanding of certain things that I didn't have before.
Okay,
so,
that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, salon number 4.
Yeah, salon number 4.
Yeah.
But yeah. I said, but for me now, from a business perspective, I think, we want to go into sort of the training academy and product lines, which is what I wanted to talk to you about. I've seen you've got your own product range. I mean, 2 questions there. Obviously, it's amazing that you've got your own range. You get to really understand what's in the products. But equally, again, once you've got that, the expense of having it within your business, that must definitely help with the, the bottom line and everything, or your insight into that.
So the year was 2008. Mm-hmm. I was still actively doing hair a lot, and I was working on a client, and we were discussing the importance of condition.
Yeah.
Because I think the one thing that we strive to do is, if there's a restaurant with 300 clients, I would like to think that you and I could spot ours.
Yeah.
They've got the best hair.
Yeah, totally.
So condition of hair for me was a differentiating factor. And I was chatting to this client about condition, and I didn't know at the time that her husband was the owner of a manufacturing company in Johannesburg.
Oh, really?
So lo and behold, the next week I get a
Yeah.
phone call. And he says, my wife was in your chair last week.
Yeah.
And I own a company, and would you like your own product range?
Wow.
And I thought for a nanosecond. And I said, yes, thanks. That'll be quite cool. Little knowing what lay ahead, to be honest. So I said, how would it work? He said, well, if you want a shampoo for dry hair, we'll send you a formula. You test it.
Okay.
And fortunately, at the time, I had a girl that was the technical manager for L'Oreal Professional for many, many years.
Yeah.
And she joined me, and she did half head tests.
Right.
So half head of ours and half head of Kerastars or Redken or whatever. We were involved with L'Oreal. And in my mind, I was thinking 6 months I'm going to have my own range, but it took 4 years for the first product.
Yeah. And how many products did you come out with?
We only had about 12.
12.
So we had 4 ranges, shampoo, conditioner, mask.
Mask,
No styling aids, no liquid tools, nothing.
Just different hair types and textures.
And we launched on the 11th of May 2012, and we had major resistance from the teams. Because why? We had L'Orealized them.
Yeah.
You know, we had told them to bath in Kerastars. And in order to crack...
And these are the things you don't think of at the time, is it?
No,
like, I'm not going to get this
Exactly.
kickback. So, and if your team are not on board.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things I've made mistakes of. I'm just assume that they're going to be.
So sometimes you need to beg and sometimes you need to force.
Or bribe.
But I think a very important lesson about the launch of my hair care brand in 2012 was, where did I position it in the marketplace?
Okay.
So I found a friend of mine who'd launched his own hair care brand in Durban at the time. And I said, how's it going? He said, terribly.
Yeah.
I said, why?
And you see that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
He says, it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
But when I dug deeper, at the time, if Redken was selling for 200 Rand a shampoo, his was selling for 80.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, no one's going to buy something that's too cheap.
Yeah.
So when I launched in 2012, we've got the luxury hair care market, which is where Kerastars and Authentic Beauty Concepts play in.
Yeah.
And then premium would be Redken.
Yes.
So at the time, I launched my brand the same price
Same
as
as
Redken.
Redken.
And now my brand is more expensive than Kerastars.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And last year,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you in South African rands because it sounds more impressive. Last year, in 2023, we sold 30 million rands worth of product.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
In
Congratulations.
our doors, only in our doors.
Wow.
It's not available anywhere else.
So you don't sell online or?
We've got a small online business
Yeah.
because I want the franchisee to be successful.
Okay,
So,
I've got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so they're obviously retail, and I know we'll talk about this a lot tomorrow on our panel discussion.
Yeah.
A lot of salons don't retail because the stylists don't like selling, it's that mindset with it. And I think you touched on it there. It's about the condition of the hair and how they look after it at home, isn't it? And the advice that we give them. So how did you get your team on board with your product line?
Okay.
And 2, how do you have such a successful, retail and business?
So when I studied the model of remuneration, or the way that we pay our stylists back in the day, and I'm talking about 15 years ago, when I joined my stepdad at the time, at the tender age, I think I was 23 or 24, there was a hair column and a sales column.
Okay.
So, and still the way it is today.
Still, yeah.
So today, if you're a stylist, you'll get a certain percentage for doing hair, color, cutting, etc., and a certain percentage for selling a product.
Okay, yeah,
And
the same.
And it's skewed.
Yeah.
It's skewed because when you look at retail today, there's meters of it. There's loads of manufacturers. And most salon owners are paying today what they paid 20 or 30 years ago, 10%, 12%.
Yeah.
Principally because you don't have the margin.
Yeah.
There's not a big margin.
No.
So what I started teaching my teams 15 years ago was, if we're going to do hair for the right reason, I'm going to pay you less on hair and more on sales, more on retail.
Yeah.
Because you doing hair now so that you can pay your child's school fees. You doing hair now so that you can make your car payment. You're not doing it for
No,
you're not doing it for the love
job.
of the hair.
Yeah, that's it.
So clients are walking out with chemical change but worse hair.
Yeah, that's it. They're not doing their jobs
Exactly.
properly.
So we are a salon brand that pays, whether you sell a shampoo or do a set of highlights, your commission is the same.
Okay.
So now they have no excuse.
Right.
They have no excuse.
Yeah.
Now they must prioritize the condition.
Of course.
And it's worked in our favor, I can honestly say.
Amazing. And it's a mindset change, isn't it? Because I think that's the thing. It's client journey for us is huge, and we understand that good hair is not enough. You know, it's the other stuff that we do that keeps people coming back, and it's the advice that we give and how they look after their hair at home. And I think once it comes from a place of we're the only people that can educate them about their hair, and that's face shape, skin tone, then it becomes natural then. People,
and we see them 8 times a year maybe.
Yeah.
What are they doing the rest of the time?
That's it.
They're destroying what we're doing in the salon.
Yeah.
Or they're not.
Or they're not.
Yeah.
And they're spending all this money when they come in to equally go out, and within 1 week it looks...
And if they're not buying product from you, they're buying it somewhere else.
Absolutely. They have to wash their hair. And it's the education, and I think that's what we feel very strongly about as a brand. It's it's building that relationship with the client to get them to keep coming back. So we talk about their hair plans and their future visits, how they come back through the door. We're not just talking about this appointment, we're talking about the next 6 weeks, the 6 weeks after that, and how they look after it. And equally, again, how the process of what we're doing all the time and how they need to look after it. And for us as well, we want to fit into people's budgets as well.
Well,
so we
I was
have a lot
say,
of price
budget is a big
transparency.
thing.
Pricing is a
couple of years back, budget was taboo.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important subject.
Yeah.
And to say to a new client that, Tara, you're in my salon today for the first time.
Yeah.
And I get and this is what we teach our staff.
Yeah.
I get carried away.
Yeah.
Because your hair and my love for hair is what I do.
That's it.
But if I do get carried away, I want you to reel me in.
Absolutely.
Because I never want to lose you because you think I'm expensive.
No.
Let's talk budget. Let's get it out there.
Get it out there.
Yeah.
And we do something. We have full price transparency. This is what we think you need to do today.
Yeah.
Because, again, we did a lot of market research as well. It was like we grew very quickly and a lot of people loved us. But equally, again, there were a lot of people that didn't like us. And I was like, why is that,
They didn't understand you.
No, it was because we didn't understand as a business, it was... Okay, this is earlier on in the beginning that the hair is not enough, it's the other stuff.
Yeah.
So this is where we now, client journey training, we've got people downstairs doing it now, that it's the other stuff that we need to train on when people come in. We need to educate the client and give them more. There's so many people do good hair, but it's the other stuff that's missing. And then the other one was pricing. People get to the till, they go to pay their bill, and then they're like, oh, what's that?
What is that?
What's that?
Oh, did I have a treatment even?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
know. People don't. And a lot of the time, people don't even know what, don't think they've even had a consultation.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're very tell us a little bit about, I've seen you do a lot of stuff and I really like this. The mirrors, there's a lot of you go really in depth into consultations.
Well, when I went to all of those countries, fortunate enough to go to when I trained.
Yeah, we're training.
Never saw anyone using the mirror other than looking at the client and doing hair.
That's it. And it can be a bit awkward.
So I figured let's get some whiteboard markers.
Yeah.
And if we are trying to explain
and you do it with training.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it with training anyway, don't
if we're
they,
trying
sometimes?
to explain a scalp condition,
let's
draw it. If we're going to have some sort of consultation journey, let's itemize it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had the Redken, I don't know, maybe before your time, I don't think so. We had the Redken trichogram.
Okay.
It was a machine that tested hair, and we sold bucket loads of Redken.
Okay.
But they took it off the market because it wasn't calibrated properly. So if you walked in with fine hair and I tested your hair, it would sometimes tell me your hair was coarse.
Okay.
Which was a problem.
Yeah.
And when the trichogram disappeared, so did our sales.
Okay.
So what I did was I lay in bed one night or one morning in the early hours, and I thought to myself, I've got to take the Redken trichogram and put it on the mirror.
Put it on the mirror, yeah.
And so we've got an 11-step process where we explain the difference between protein and moisture.
Okay.
We involve the client.
Yeah.
She feels like she's doing her own, she's getting her own formula ready.
Definitely.
And our retail just
and
exploded.
People don't understand it.
Yeah.
Again, you're educating your client there.
Yeah.
And a lot of stylists and hairdressers that come through the door, they forget the basics, even in terms of colour theory and stuff, they're just like, well, I'm just balayaging. I'm just, or I'm just doing a treatment.
Yeah.
They're not going back to, they're thinking about the, the end result, but not the process or the why behind why we're doing it. So I love that. And you do a lot with the sort of colours and stuff like that within your consultations, like skin tone.
Yeah, skin tone. So we simplify it. We used to have some capes, gold and silver capes, but now we've got orange and pink boards.
Okay.
We try and change it up from time to time, and we just position them around the client, and you can see whether there's a cool or a warm skin tone. And it helps us to sell colour to non-colour clients.
Absolutely.
So if a woman
because
walks
they
in
can
for a
see.
blow dry,
Yeah.
and
Like
you say,
a little bit of this.
let me quickly show you your skin tone.
Yeah.
They go, okay, well, maybe I should let this person colour my hair.
You're somebody that's very, very high on client experience. We all know that obviously what becomes, a wow factor then becomes normal. So how do you struggle to sort of keep bringing in new experiences? Do your clients always expect more, or is it like it's a people thing, isn't it? Like the more, because like people sometimes think like client experience, it's a drink, or it's this, or it's the latest, especially here in Dubai.
Yeah.
It's like, let's out, like,
Yeah.
But I think client experience as well, it's about the people, isn't it? Do you
Yeah.
think? What would be your
Yeah,
take
I
on
think
that?
I think it's more about the people, because there's only so many experiences you can have in a salon. One of the biggest talking points we have is the name board. So we've got a little name board.
Yeah.
As you walk in, it'll say, "Hi Tara,
Oh, nice.
thanks for choosing us.
Yeah.
We hope you have a great time in the salon today."
That's
And
fab.
that's the most photographed social media
Yeah.
thing about our brand. So something that small,
Personal.
yeah, something that personal. We've got a thank you letter that we give to our clients in their retail bags, which
Nice.
you probably don't know
Yeah.
about. So when you buy retail,
Yeah.
then our staff are trained to take a letterhead
Okay.
and just write you a little note.
That's amazing.
And it's something personal, something about your child or something about your vacation.
Amazing.
And just say, thanks for choosing us.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting the brand. And they pop it in your retail bag. And when you get home, you read it. And it's those small touch points
that makes a massive difference.
that makes a massive difference. Yeah.
And I think obviously you must have, because obviously if you just brought this in to stylists that were busy, I haven't got time for that. This is obviously part of your client journey and inductions when people come in. This is how you do things. Do you have a set way of introducing staff into the brand as a franchise and as salons? As in, this is the process and this is how we do it.
Yeah, we have induction. We've got an induction training program. But in my life and in South Africa, I don't know what it's like here. We don't have a fortune of clients. So for me, it's never been about quantity.
Yeah.
It's never been about how many you can do in a day.
No,
It's about how many can you do successfully.
amazing.
And so when a stylist turns around to me and says, I don't have time, I say, do fewer clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you do fewer clients and you give them more, you're going to get more.
You're going to get more.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
And training and education, like you guys, how do you manage obviously these franchises? And we'll talk about how we got into the franchise model.
Yeah.
But how does that work?
So what we do, and we've done it for many, many years because I used to do it for L'Oreal, is we've got a training program called XMC. Don't ask me what it stands for. It stands for nothing. Okay.
Sounds good though.
Yeah. And on a Tuesday of the month, of any given month, on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
and on a Thursday in the same week, half of the team are taken out of 29 doors.
Okay.
And they come into a central training venue, and
Yeah.
we do the soft skills training, the training that
Okay.
you spoke about earlier about
Yeah.
consultation, retail selling, overcoming objections,
Amazing.
all of the things that we don't learn in college.
Yeah.
We teach them that. So we always on about the client journey.
Yeah.
And on a Tuesday, the other half are working in the doors.
Okay.
Then on a Thursday,
And
we
the others,
repeat,
You repeat.
and the other half come in.
Okay.
That's one training
Yeah.
intervention that we have. The other training that we've implemented in the door for the last 10 or 12 years is the following. If you're going to be working on a client as a stylist, and let's call them salon professionals, not stylists. They're not
Yeah.
stylists.
Yeah.
They're salon professionals.
Yeah.
When a salon professional is working on a client, it's your duty
Yeah.
to mentor and pass on and train to the people around you.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking color, involve your assistant.
Yeah.
When you're doing a haircut, talk the haircut. This is my section. This is my elevation.
Yeah.
This is my cutting angle.
Yeah.
I do that,
Yeah.
but I charge
Because you-
more.
Yeah.
I only charge more. I don't charge more because I'm better. I
Yeah.
charge more because I talk about the cut.
Yeah.
In my lifetime of traveling the world, I don't see salon professionals talking about the haircut. They just cut.
They just cut.
So when you're texturizing, let's
Yeah. Why are
say
you
to a
doing
client,
that?
I'm taking less weight out here because
Because of
I'm
this.
taking more weight out here because
Yeah.
that's what they talk about.
Yeah. And it's the education
Yeah.
of why we do
Yeah.
things.
And then we have breakaway trainings where
Yeah.
we take first year assistants. If we have 10 of them, we'll put them into a group and we'll take them out of the salon for a day.
Amazing.
And we'll train them at our head office. We've
Okay.
got training facilities at
Yeah.
the head office. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you walk into our head office, there's there's training happening, there's products happening.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
And I think for me now, and you must have this, is what's nice is there are so many different salons and there's no right, there's no wrong,
No.
but very, very firm on what we do and what we offer and where we want to go, you know, and we could be somebody's worst nightmare because, you know, we're all about training, education, career development and everything. And I think once you're really, really firm on the brand that you are and where you want to go with it, you then start to attract the right people, don't you?
There's another level of where I want to go with this now. Sometimes we get wrapped up in our world, but our world is not our client's world. It's not our guest's world.
Yeah.
So I would urge people out there, entrepreneurs, salon owners, survey the public, survey your clients consistently all the time.
Yeah.
Ask them what they want. Ask them what changes they want. Ask them if they're comfortable.
Yeah. Because
Survey
people,
the daylights out of people because they will tell you
absolutely
what they want.
Their feedback is probably can be some of the hardest things to hear, but equally it is. I think that's one of the biggest things we did. We did a lot of mystery shopping, client feedback and everything, and that is where you see your most growth, isn't it? Because you're actually listening to the client, you know, and they're telling
within
you
reason.
how they feel. Yes,
within reason. I mean, if they tell you to drop your prices, you're not going to listen, are you?
I know we were getting all sorts of strange drink demands, like, because we're not a bar.
Yeah.
But I think, it's about having, you know, for us now, in terms of interview process, for me, it's we're looking for mindset.
Yeah.
We're looking for, you know, you don't need to be the best hairdresser because we can teach that. Yeah. But what we can't teach is how you turn up for work and what you want out of something. And that for me is really, really important. What is your sort of interview process like? You obviously, you know, is that down to the franchise?
So we have, when we interview prospective staff members, we say to them, come and, once we've told them about the brand and their career path and where we think we can get them in 2, 3 or 5 years, I say to them, come and spend a day with us. Don't join.
Yeah.
Just come and hang out with us. Yeah? Have a day's observation. Look at the way we work with clients. Look at our salon journey. And then at the end of that day, you'll tell me whether you think this is the right brand for you. And I'll tell you whether I think you're the right person. Because, you know, they hang out outside. And
you see.
So then that gives us half an indication. However, Tara.
And I think this communication transparency is very important. Yeah.
But you know as well as I do, girl, that the minute something goes wrong in an individual's life, it's financial or it's family or it's relationship, then the true colors come out.
Yes.
You and I mean, I've had some bad franchisees in my life.
Yeah.
And people turn around and say to me, but why didn't you choose better? So, well, on paper, they looked great.
Yeah, I know.
And in the first 4 meetings we had, they looked great.
Like, wow, this is going to be the best.
Yeah. So I always say that the brand will either make them or break them. And if it breaks them and they leave, it's okay.
Must agree with that, definitely. Yeah. So tell me, franchising. Tell me how, obviously, we took Lloyd on.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Thanks to Lloyd, I'm here.
Yeah. And so you were at salon number 5, Lloyd came on board, and you were up at 6 a.m. How did you get started?
So it boils down to career path.
Yeah.
We have 4 levels of stylist in our brand. As you come out of our apprenticeship program and go onto the salon floor, you have no clients.
Yeah.
So you're a stylist.
Yeah.
Then you become a senior stylist once you've done enough turnover
Yep.
and got enough regular clients.
Yes.
Then you're a master stylist. Then you're an artistic director.
Yep.
Artistic director is the top level. Mm-hmm. These are people that have been with us 10 years.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next
is their own salon.
Yeah.
It's their own salon.
Yeah.
And before we franchised, they would leave and open their own salon.
I know, this is the...
Now they leave and open a Gary Rom.
I love this.
Because we have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
We've got the discounts from the manufacturers. Yeah. We've got the blueprint. We've got the formula. They've seen the formula. They've grown up in the formula.
Yeah.
So most of the doors that we open...
And they have the support as well.
Yeah. Most of the doors we open are internal. It's the next stepping stone for someone. For a
and
salon
all your franchisees are predominantly people that work for you, or
80%.
80%.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Not the man brand. The man brand's totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, and we talk about that.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, because I man brand never even entered my mind.
This is it. I've just opened my first.
Yeah. So what happened was my son Calvin. my firstborn, I
Yeah.
always refer to him as my firstborn. He's an avid bow hunter
Okay.
because he lives in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was in the bush with his friend Mike.
Yeah.
And they'd had a couple of drinks too many around the fire.
God.
And they started conceptualizing this man brand
Yeah. Okay.
in their heads.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, we're in Africa.
I've seen you at the inside, so I can see.
So it's got to have a black ceiling.
Yeah.
It's got to have exposed copper piping. It's got to have red brick and French oak. And it's got to have skulls on the walls.
Yeah.
So when men walk past or men walk in,
Yeah.
it's like a bush experience in the city
Yeah.
almost. And they came back and I'll tell you when it was May 2019.
Yeah.
And in August 2019, they opened the first Gary Romman signature barber.
Wow.
Not knowing.
And is he in the industry?
He is.
He is.
He's a stylist.
He's a stylist.
Yeah, he's a stylist. And
Yeah.
he's a barbershop owner. And he's
Yeah.
a salon owner.
Wow.
And they opened in August of 2019 and it went mad.
Wow.
And 5 months later, COVID hit.
Oh my goodness.
And they sat at home for 3 months in South Africa,
Yeah.
champing at the bit, to be honest. And they said to me in hard lockdown, when we weren't allowed to do anything, they said to me, Dad, I'm opening the second one at a mall called Menlyn Main in Pretoria. And I said,
Okay.
but you've got a unisex salon there.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking he's going to put it at the other end of the mall.
Right.
I said, where's it going to be? He
Next
said,
door.
right opposite.
Yeah.
I said, are you nuts? I said, you're committing financial suicide. And his words to me were, Tara, I'll never forget. He
Yeah.
said, yes, but it's my financial suicide. I went,
There you go.
fair enough.
Yeah.
So at the time, there were about 50 men that
Yeah.
frequented the unisex.
Okay.
The man opened directly opposite.
Yeah.
Those 50 stayed.
They stayed.
They never gravitated.
Yeah.
They never moved.
It's different, isn't it?
But within 6 months,
Yeah.
the barbershop was doing 900 men a month.
Wow.
And now, in that short space of time, from 2020 to 2024, there are 16, soon to be 17 barbershops.
Wow, that's amazing. In
Because
such a short space of time.
You know what it is? The guys that sit in the chair having their hair cut want franchises. That's how good it is.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, that's how big. We get mails every week. Can I open a barbershop? Can I?
Really?
We have more franchisees than space.
Wow.
What a dream.
Yeah,
So,
amazing.
Calvin, when you watch this,
Yeah,
go back to the bush.
that's it.
Go and get some better.
Go to
Go
the
and
bush
get some
for me,
ideas.
please.
Yeah, 100%.
Bring them back.
So yeah, it's just insane.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's crazy.
And how nice is that to be able to share, and I think for me is like one of my biggest is seeing people grow and having more.
Yeah.
So, you can offer that with the franchise model is these people have worked with you for so long and now they get something of their own
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
that must be a really, really rewarding thing to see.
Yeah, and in the barbershop world, I don't know what it's like in Dubai or elsewhere in the world, but it's a lot easier to get barbers than it is to get salon professionals, stylists.
Yeah.
So the barbershop model is easier to run,
And
easier
it's-
to staff.
Yeah. And the costs are less.
Costs are less, and also what was great in this last 4 years journey is we had a shop hand because what we offer in the barbershop is a complimentary shoe service.
Okay.
So when you walk in,
Oh, wow.
there's a shop hand. We
Yeah.
call them a shop hand, and the
Yeah.
shop hand says, "Sir, I see you've got white trainers on. Can I just
love
get those
that.
clean for you? Can I polish your brogues, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be?" So it's a complimentary shoe service. The shop hand gets tipped madly.
I can
Great.
imagine. Yeah.
But we have taken a shop hand that started as a shop hand and turned him into a barber
Wow.
and
that
enriched
is-
his life and his
Yeah.
family's life, and that
Yeah.
makes it all worthwhile.
Definitely. And I think we've got a similar story. A girl that worked for me, she came in as a cleaner
Yes.
and now she's like a fully booked stylist on the
Amazing.
floor. So it's
Yeah.
being able to
Look
give
at how you've helped that woman's
yeah,
family.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, she really put that work in as
Yeah.
well, and it's you get people coming in and we're very strict now on when we are talking recruitment, like there are many opportunities within this company, but we won't spoon feed either.
Yeah.
You've got to show up every day and we can give you the tools, but
Yeah.
we can't chase you for it as
Yeah.
well. So I want to know more off camera about franchising. After having a couple of months.
You know
of
what
me-
I'll do for you? Because people say to me, and I'm sure they've said it to you, you've worked hard.
Yeah.
And I have worked hard. I mean, in the first 6 years when I opened my first salon, I never saw my son play cricket once
I know.
on a
And
Saturday.
this is, yes.
I worked Mondays to Saturdays, and then
Yeah.
I stayed at home on a Sunday and I maybe played golf. But I was the business.
Yeah.
And today I'm not the business.
Yeah.
Today the business works for me.
That's amazing.
But I've lost my train of thought, to be honest. Anyway, lost
Yeah.
my train of thought.
No, but
Can't
that
remember
I
what
think
wanted to
that
say.
is.
Oh, you wanted about franchising?
Yes.
I've still lost my train
Yeah.
of thought.
But I mean, how did you come up with the model? You know, in terms of franchising, is it?
Oh,
Did
that's
you
what
get,
I wanted to say
yeah.
to you. I wanted to say to you that people have said I work hard.
Yes.
Right. And I have.
Mm-hmm.
However, my life and your life, there's an element of timing.
Yeah.
So it's who you meet
Yeah.
and when you meet them.
Yeah. Definitely.
And people that you meet along the way. And Lloyd was that person back in the day.
Yeah.
So you as a salon professional, as a colleague, I'll take the pain away for you, and I'll give you my franchise agreement.
Yeah.
That cost me that franchise agreement has cost me close to 300,000 rand because of the Protection of Private Information Act and the Consumer Protection Act. And I know it's maybe different here, but it's a blueprint.
Yeah, it's a blueprint.
Happy to give it to you because
That's amazing.
you know
Thank you.
that's and whatever I know,
Yeah.
I will give you.
And
I
do you know
will
what?
share with
It's
you.
so refreshing to have you on today because I think I'm at the point where you went like, I'm working all the time, you know, and with and I think I got to that point. I was like, I can't, you know, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I've got the most amazing team. We have managers, marketing managers, and you know, a lot of it to do with is me. But it's like, you know, I believe in what we do, and I believe we're different, and you know, I believe in what we want to do for clients and what we want to do for the team. But it's like, I don't think I could do it again.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So this is why it's really. That's why I said you've come at the right
Yeah,
time
you
for
need
me.
you need to reach a point in your life where you have passive income.
Yeah.
So you've got, and I mean, fortunate, we've got 250 people that work in the brand. I get a small percentage of everything they do.
Yeah.
Every sale they make, every head they cut, as a franchisor, I get a percentage.
Yeah. That's it.
I mean,
Massive.
that's freaking insane. And we obviously make a profit on our products that we
Yes.
supply to them.
Amazing.
So it's a supply chain
Yeah.
that they can't not have.
Absolutely.
So no, Tara, listen, I sometimes pinch myself in the morning, honestly.
Yeah.
Super blessed
Yeah.
to be where I am. And sometimes I think, how?
How?
Even I
Yeah.
think, how?
And do you think, you know, it's very, you've got to keep reflecting, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think I found I get so into the moment and busy that it's
Yeah.
like, just step back a little bit
Yeah.
and look at how far you've come. Stop beating yourself up, you know, you've come so far.
Yeah.
Reflect, you know, everything is, you know, you need to have that time, don't
Yeah.
you, for yourself?
Oh, yeah.
The balance.
Yeah.
And what is your working week like now? How hands-on are you? What do you?
So I had shoulder surgery 4 months ago.
Okay.
As a stylist, the angle that we work at when we cut and when we foil is not great for your shoulders.
No.
So even 10 years ago, my shoulders were a little iffy.
Yeah.
But I live a very active lifestyle. I train in the gym and I cycle and I play golf and bowls and
Yeah.
no problem. I was functional.
Yeah.
But last April I fell.
Oh, really?
And I injured my right shoulder, and I tried for 3 months to have rehab, and it didn't really work. And then I went to Australia to visit my daughter.
Okay.
My grandson ran into me on day 2. I fell again, and I tore
no.
my rotator cuff off.
Oh my goodness.
So it's 4 months now. It's
Yeah,
functional.
functional.
Again, but I'll be able to cut in maybe another 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
But I only have 30 or so clients.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know that none of them are going to be watching this. I'm trying to get rid of them, to be honest.
It's one of the
I'm trying to get
hardest
rid of them,
things,
yeah.
isn't it? You're like,
And-
I can't now,
and-
my shoulder
and-
doesn't work.
And I've tried everything. I put my price up so much, but
won't
they
go.
stay.
Yeah. I think maybe now the shoulder could be
Yeah,
the
the
good.
shoulder could
It
be
could
the
be the
catalyst.
one. Like,
Could be
I
the one.
literally can't cut your
Yeah.
hair anymore.
Yeah. So my work week, I'm still very active in all of the doors. I like to add value by popping in and chatting
Yeah.
to clients.
And how do you manage all the franchisees
yeah,
and like how
We've
in
got a
terms
big
of-
team.
You've got a big
Yeah,
team.
we've got a big team. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got our head office consists of 17 employees.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, from financial. I mean, my financial director has 2 people under her.
Yeah,
You know,
I can imagine.
she does the books for about 25 of the
Wow.
franchisees.
Yeah.
So it's a
Everything
real
is
big,
kept, yeah, huge.
Yeah. So in South African rand last year, the brand did about 130 million rand in turnover.
Wow.
It's a big operation.
Yeah. Huge.
And yeah, you've got to keep your finger on the pulse.
Absolutely. And do you go in and you're in the head office a lot?
Yeah.
You split your time between being in the salon and
Yeah, head office.
head office?
We've got the packaging. Jackie's also in charge of the product division. So there's new labels and there's change of label, and then there's a tube that we can't get, and now we've got to source it from someone else, and it's
never ending.
But
you love it.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know what? That's it. I'm
Absolutely.
franchising now. Thank you, Gary.
Have you ever been to Africa?
No, I haven't.
When are you coming?
I'd love to come. My husband and little boy went last year for a wedding, and the pictures looked amazing. So I'm coming to visit.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm coming.
We will spoil you.
Yeah.
We will take you to the game parks.
Yeah.
We will take you to Cape Town, and we will show you the operation.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure.
But honestly, I believe about timing. Like I said, I really struggled the last few months, and it was just so refreshing to see. Like what I was saying, like you're doing everything that I wanted to do, you know. And I was like, I did definitely doubt myself for a little minute there because it's been so exhausting. So it's really refreshing. You've done me the world.
That's amazing.
And it's always nice for me to grow your network.
Yes,
you know, and I believe
100%.
it's all network and the people that we surround ourselves by.
100%.
So I believe we've got another talk tomorrow in the Schwarzkopf Academy.
Yeah.
So that will be nice. We've got an audience and a few other salon professionals.
Yeah.
So we shall look forward to that.
We shall.
But thank you, Gary.
So nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
This is just the beginning.
Okay, 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Good.